Hello my fellow Welt lovers. Today we've finally hit the last round of changes in the 3.6 v5 beta, and wow. I feel like Hoyoverse just threw us one last emotional roller coaster before they slam the door shut on testing. You know that feeling when you've been watching your favorite character get dragged through mud for multiple betas and then suddenly they're like, "Hey bestie, here's a bunch of buffs, sorry for the trauma?" Yeah, that's basically what happened with Dan Heng in Bibitter Luni 2.0, or should I say Dante, Dan Heng Permancer, Dragon Man, whatever nickname y'all have been spamming. And on the other side of the coin, poor Evernight got that predictable "you're too good, time to get trimmed down a bit" treatment. Let's break it all down because trust me, these changes might look small on paper, but they actually matter a lot more than people are giving credit for. Topping up in Genshin or Star Rail can get expensive, and let's be honest, we've all seen those in-game prices and wished they were just a bit lower. Well, that's exactly what LDShop is here for. This is LDShop, the official top-up platform developed by the LD Player Emulator Group. It lets you top up your favorite games like Genshin Impact and Star Rail at huge discounts, up to 23% off or more. And yeah, it's super easy to use. All you need is your server and UID, and your top-up will show up in-game within just a few minutes. It's safe, reliable, and used by thousands of players. You can even compare prices, for example, something like the Supply Pass or a 6480 Stellar Jade Bundle. It's way cheaper here than in-game. If you register using my link, you'll get a 15% off coupon and an extra 5% off coupon, which can save you up to $50 on your first top-ups. Plus, LDShop gives you the same first top-up bonus you get in-game, so you're not missing out on anything. And if you're planning to spend more, here's a bonus. If you spend over $80, you'll unlock VIP status, which gives you a free supply pass and more perks. So if you're looking to save while still getting everything you normally would in-game, just use the link in the description and get Cerydra while saving more. First up, let's pour one out for Evernight. Our gothic queen has been looking absolutely cracked these past few weeks, and honestly, I was scared for her. Because we all know Hoyoverse has this bad habit of buffing someone into the stratosphere only to yank them back down with a nerf right before release. Evernight was handing out crit damage like candy at a festival, and if you actually sat down and calculated the numbers, it was insane. Last week she was giving your entire team crit damage equal to 30% of her own stat. And considering Evernight can casually hit 300% plus crit damage, that meant 90 to 100 crit damage spread across everyone. Do you realize how stupidly strong that is? That's not just good team support. That's, hello, I am rewriting the way team comps work. Naturally, they weren't going to let that slide into live release. So in V5, they dropped her scaling down to 24% of her crit damage. Now, before we panic, let's think about this. Is it a nerf? Yeah, of course. But is it a death sentence? Absolutely not. You're still going to be dishing out a truckload of free crit damage if you build her properly. If you've got 300% crit damage, instead of handing out 90, she's now giving 72. That's a loss, but 72 crit damage for free is still god tier support. And if you're a whale or just a sweaty min-maxer with cracked relic RNG, you can still push her buffs to triple digits. Honestly, I think they were scared she was going to overshadow actual dedicated buffers like Ting Yun or Wan Mei in some comps. And honestly, they were probably right. Even after this nerf, I'd say Evernight is sitting in a very comfortable spot. She's still both a strong DPS and sub-DPS option while also giving the team one of the most valuable buffs in the game. So yeah, the memes about Evernight nerfed, she's dead are way overblown. This is more like trimming her claws a little before letting her scratch up memory of chaos. But let's pivot to the real juicy part. Dan Heng. My guy went from being clowned on in earlier betas to becoming one of the most solid free units we've ever seen. I can't believe I'm saying this, but Hoyoverse actually over-delivered here. His shields have been pumped up to the point where you could probably run this man without a healer in casual content and be fine. And that's wild. The flat values on his skill and ultimate both went from plus 320 to plus 400, and his talent got bumped from plus 160 to plus 200. Those might look like tiny flat increases, but remember, his entire kit scales on attack. That means every point of attack he builds makes those shields better and better. And it doesn't even stop there. V5 gave him a brand new talent effect. Every time his dragon buddy takes action, the ally with the lowest HP now gets a free shield. That means this man is constantly tossing out extra protection just for existing. And the best part? Those shields stack up to 300% of his main shield values. Do you understand how busted that is? We're talking unbreakable bubble wrap levels of sustain here. This is such a massive glow-up from his V3 Doom posting days when everyone was screaming that Hoyoverse had gutted him. Now, between his already decent damage, his supportive sustain, and the fact that he's free, I'm honestly shocked at how strong he looks heading into release. And you know what makes this even spicier? His light cone. In earlier betas, it was kind of a joke, 24% attack buff, barely worth pulling if you weren't desperate. But in V5, they cranked it all the way up to a 64% attack buff. That's not just nice to have, that's game-changing for his whole kit. Since literally everything he does, from his damage to his shields, scales off attack, this buff basically turned his light cone into his Biss with no contest. Sure, they removed the little shield effect bonus it had, but like, who cares? You're getting way more attack, which indirectly buffs his shields anyway. It's such an obvious when that I can't imagine anyone passing on it if they're planning to use him long-term. Honestly, if you're on the fence, this might be one of the highest value free-to-play friendly cones in the game's history. Now, let me address the elephant in the room. Does this mean Dan Heng is officially fixed after the disaster of V3? I think yes. Look, he's not V2 busted. We're never getting that back, let's be real. But the V5 changes basically hit the sweet spot where he feels powerful, flexible, and not like a charity case character you only use out of pity. He's not going to power creep someone like a Venturin in raw shielding, but for a free sustained DPS hybrid, he's looking incredible. I'd even go so far as to say that newer players are about to have a field day building him up because you get a unit that can tank hits, deal good damage, and carry you through mid-game content without sweating. Meanwhile, poor Evernight will have to live with being slightly less cracked than last week. Honestly though, she'll be fine. Her kit still has that unique flavor, where she can play both sub-DPS and buffer, and no other character really competes in that exact niche. She lost a little shine, but she's still the star of plenty of team setups. And hey, we can't complain too much. Better a small nerf now than a giant hammer after release, when everyone's already pulled. So, where does this leave us overall? Both characters are actually in great spots heading into release. Dan Heng is going to be a staple unit for tons of people thanks to being free and fun, and Evernight will absolutely find her place in both casual and sweaty meta comps despite her crit buff being toned down. It's kind of hilarious to think back to V1 and V3, where we all thought these two were doomed, and now they're leaving beta looking like top-tier units. Hoyoverse finally did something right, y'all. Mark the date. And let's not forget the bigger picture here. 3.6 is shaping up to be one of the most balanced patches we've seen in a while. We're not just getting flashy new characters who instantly overshadow the old cast, but instead thoughtful tweaks that make them viable without being broken. That's honestly refreshing. If this level of balancing continues, it could mean a healthier game long-term where every patch doesn't just boil down to new banner character is busted, pull, or regret. Instead, we're getting variety, options, and actual team-building decisions that feel rewarding. And honestly, that's the kind of future I want to see for Honkai Star Rail. Of course, the usual disclaimer, these are beta numbers, things are locked in now, but you never know until the live patch notes drop. If they sneak in some stealth adjustments on launch day, don't yell at me, yell at Hoyoverse. And as always, leaks are leaks, take them with the grainiest grain of salt. But honestly, given how late in testing we are, I'd say this is probably what we're getting in 3.6. Anyway, that's the roundup. Evernight got trimmed, but she's still thriving. Dan Heng got buffed into a shield monster, and their light cones are making waves. What do you guys think? Did Hoyoverse actually nail the balance this time, or are we about to see power creep chaos again? Personally, I'm hyped to test these two when they drop. And hey, don't forget to drop a sub if you want to keep riding this beta chaos train with me, because if something changes at the last second, you know I'll be screaming about it here first.